Hey friends, what's up? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Today, we got at least three, sometimes more, but three ultimate fragrances from 5 different styles of scents. So what are those styles? Well, blue fragrances, date night fragrances, beast mode fragrances, office fragrances, and gym fragrances, sporty scents. So we got a lot of different fragrances to talk about. Let's jump into it. Now, these are all designer fragrances today. Maybe we'll do a niche one in the future, maybe on the Extra channel, something like that. Extra Gents Scents, check it out. Also, check out the code GENTS10, which will save you 10% off at Twisted Lily and also maxaroma.com. And then luckyscent.com, the code is 10GENTS, 10% off. So let's kick things off with the blue fragrances. Yes, and technically I have 5 of them, but that is because one entry is the big 3. So if you're looking for blue fragrances, let's say you're a blue fragrance noob, you have nothing blue at all. How's that even possible? I don't know. But let's say that's the case. And you're thinking to yourself, man, I desire the versatility, the complement factor, the mass appeal of the blue. Give it to me. I need it. Especially if you're just getting started in fragrances, blue scents are a great place to start. So, okay, you need some. Well, maybe you want Eau de Parfum, or maybe you're Team Dior, and then you want Sauvage, Eau de Parfum, or maybe Chanel is more your style, and then you want Bleu de Chanel, Eau de Parfum. Yeah, these are all 3 the Eau de Parfums. With Sauvage, the Eau de Toilette is just as popular as the Eau de Parfum, and then with Bleu de Chanel, the Eau de Parfum seems to be a little bit, ever so slightly more popular than the Eau de Toilette, and with Y, the Eau de Parfum is definitely more popular. So those are the big 3, and that would be a great place to start. They are going to be more expensive in terms of designer fragrances than pretty much any other blue scent out there, because these ones, even at discounters, don't get marked off all that heavily. PS, all these linked in the description below. But yeah, Cliff's Notes version on these. Y Eau de Parfum, quite sweet, good performance from it. Has apple up top along with some bergamot. And then as it dries down, you get sage and amber woods. All 3 of these fantastic complement pullers. Y Eau de Parfum right up toward the tippy top of my personal favorites. Sauvage is going to be a little bit more aggressive. It has more projection. It's really going to push out there. It has this metallic ambroxan. Good amount of sweetness. The Eau de Parfum is smoother than the Eau de Toilette, not quite as loud as the Eau de Toilette. Nice little vanilla in the Eau de Parfum as well. And then Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum is the classiest of the bunch in my opinion. It's going to come across the most well-to-do. It's the most sophisticated. It's not as sweet as the other ones. So maybe if you're looking for something a little bit more youthful, one of the other ones would be a better choice, but this one overall, it's just a killer. Okay, so that all counts as 1. Let's quickly keep it moving with Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue, I think, is the first fragrance that I would point somebody toward if they're wanting a blue fragrance from a well-known house that's going to get you those compliments, that's going to have that versatility, but you don't want to spend as much money. So you're looking for something that you can actually get at a discount from discounters, hence the name. Dylan Blue is the first one I'd point people to. Presentation looks nice, fragrance smells nice, a lot to love about this one. But let's say you were wanting something a little bit classier, something a little bit more restrained with the sweetness, then you go with this. Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Eau de Toilette Extreme. Again, presentation looks very nice, has this great gradient, this matte finish gradient. The scent itself does have similarities to the other Bleu Noir fragrances in the lineup. So it's going to give you that classiness, that little touch of maturity. It has a really nice citrus, icy feeling to it with a little green around the edges. Really well done. Perfect for somebody middle-aged or older that wants that blue fragrance versatility. Let's do date night fragrances next. And we're gonna start it with the very obvious one, the one Eau de Parfum from Dolce & Gabbana. Just because it's obvious doesn't mean that it ain't right. This is probably the first date night fragrance I would point somebody toward. Just like Dylan Blue would be the first somewhat affordable blue fragrance that I would point a new person to, the one is the first date night fragrance I would point out. I would say, have you smelled this? If not, go check it out. This is where you start. Sweet, spicy, warm, sensual, addictive, it's nearly the perfect date night scent. It's not overwhelmingly strong. It's just strong enough so that somebody will catch whiffs of it that's near you, and it's going to have that kind of magnetic effect, and that's what you're looking for. Now, if you want to go a little higher end, spend a little more money and have something that smells a little bit more unique, go with this one, Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Of course, as I said, it's expensive. It's a Tom Ford. You already knew that. It has that sweetness once again, but this one is more standard, ambery warmth and sweetness like the one has. And instead, this has more of this spicy, very interesting, as I said, unique, but still appealing scent profile. It has coffee in here, which you pretty much don't see at all except for in this fragrance. So it's an interesting pistachio dessert note, little gourmand flair to it. Perfect fragrance for date nights. And I think it's just overall one of the best, more mainline Tom Ford fragrances out there. And then we got to go with this one, Le Male de Parfum. So this is, of course, Jean Paul Gaultier, very popular. People really love this one. Has that DNA from the original Le Male, but here it has oriental notes. It has more spices. It has iris added in. It's not as powdery as the original. Definitely smells more modern than the original. And overall is a much improved fragrance, in my opinion, over the original Le Male. And it's great for a date night situation, or really just about any situation in cooler weather. That stuff is insane. Okay, office fragrance is up next, and I got 5 here, so my bad, but I'll go through them pretty quick. Prada L'Homme, kind of like Dolce & Gabbana's The One, or Sauvage. This is the very obvious choice. So like Sauvage is the obvious blue, Bleu de Chanel, the obvious blue, The One, the obvious date night scent. This, the obvious office scent. Extremely clean, soapy, powdery, because it does have a prominent iris note in here, but this is just about as perfect an office fragrance as you can get. And so is this one, Tom Ford Gray Vetiver. It is a very clean, fresh vetiver, so it's more appealing, easier to wear for people out there that might be a little bit hesitant to go for a vetiver fragrance. So you don't get hit with that, that hardcore earthiness or that smokiness. Instead, it has been cleaned and it has been sand blasted off to where it's just a nice gray vetiver. Maybe you'd rather go for something like this though, Versace Pour Homme. This one always worked really well for me in the office because this is citrus, it's sweet, it's slightly aquatic, it has clean florals in there. It's very easy to pull off. It's the type of fragrance that if somebody catches it in the air, they will never be offended. They'll just think that you smell awesome, and it doesn't cost that much money. So this one is a great choice as well. As is this one, Acqua di Gio Profondo. I mean, it's Acqua di Gio. You don't have to say too much more than that. It's Acqua di Gio. I would go Profondo over the original at this point. I think it smells a little bit nicer, has more depth at this point. It's not as heavy on the white florals. It adds a nice masculine edge to it with the minerality, with a bit of green notes that are added. Wonderful fragrance. You could go Acqua di Gio Profumo also in fall and winter time. That would make a really good office scent. And something a little bit different, Him by Hanni Mori. This one is obviously much more under the radar than the other 4. It's affordable at discounters. It has a similarity to Gucci Pour Homme 2, which is unfortunately discontinued. So it's gonna give you this really relaxing, slightly warm, kind of tea feeling fragrance, very smooth, and the quality of the fragrance much higher than you would expect for the price, and maybe also the presentation, because it does look a little cheap, but this stuff smells great. Gym fragrances or sport fragrances are up next, and the first one is definitely much more versatile than just being a gym fragrance or a sport fragrance, but it's affordable and it works great in that situation as well as a whole bunch of other situations. So it's the type of fragrance that you could have in your collection really easily. That's going to be just a wonderful plug and play type of scent. Almost any situation you find yourself in, it'll work. It is Coach for Men. So this one would also fit in realistically in the blue fragrance section because it does the same stuff as blue fragrances. The versatility is there, compliment factor is there, the whole shebang. The presentation looks nice, and for the price, it's a great buy. So this one right here, even though you can use it in a multitude of situations, is also awesome in the gym. because it's very fresh, has a nice little bit of sweetness, and it's gonna have you smelling great. Then you could also go with Lacoste L1212 White or Blanc. And this isn't the only Lacoste that would work. Frankly, like half of Lacoste's lineup would work as really good gym fragrances because they're Lacoste. That's what they're made for. They're made to be sporty and fresh and clean and all this stuff. I think I'd go with this one first off because this is kind of the classic Lacoste at this point. This is really one of the scents that people know the house for. And I think it just works perfectly in gym type situations. Again, very clean, very fresh. It's what you're after. Or you could go with this guy right here, which is quite affordable from discounters. It is Original Penguin Premium Blend. And actually, like, this bottle is crazy heavy. I mean, you can see there like how thick the glass is. It actually looks really nice for a penguin fragrance because not for nothing, but if you tell me, oh, there's a new Original Penguin fragrance out, probably not gonna think it's gonna be all that nice. You know, it's gonna be pretty cheap. That one is more like that shower gel, fresh out of the shower kind of fragrance where it's very brisk and aromatic and a little citrusy and just a very easy to pull off fragrance in a gym. And that stuff, as I said, really affordable, so you don't have to really think about it. You can just spray it on like crazy, who cares? And it's not an offensive type of fragrance. It doesn't come across like overly cheap the way that it smells in the air compared to the price that you pay. So there's a lot to like about that as a gym scent. And now some beast mode fragrances. Try to think of fragrances that are beast mode, but also wearable, right? Because you can have a fragrance that's beast mode and it's crazy strong, but then the scent itself is just not what you want to smell like necessarily. So I tried to think of things that are beast, but also really nice. So I got 3 of them here. First up, Code Profumo from Armani. The opening here, showstopper. It's effervescent, sparkly, sweet. People will compare it to the smell of like root beer or soda, Dr. Pepper, depending on who you ask. And I love it. I really love the opening here. Now, of course, Code Absolute, I like a little bit more than Profumo. I'd say Profumo is a little bit better for younger guys, and then Absolute maybe trends ever so slightly a little bit more toward like middle age and older, but realistically anybody can pull these off. And Absolute is not quite as strong as Profumo. So when you're going just straight up beast mode of the two, I'm going with this one. And then of course, can't forget this, Spice Bomb Extreme. Hype beast, you know, everybody's singing its praises and talking about it, and I do love it. I think that this is the best of the Spice Bomb line to date. The compliment factor is there with this one. The performance is fantastic. This stuff will last forever. Spray it on your clothes. It's gonna be there for days and days. The vanilla in here, I think, is the main thing for me that sets it apart, even, you know, puts it on a pedestal above the other Spice Bomb fragrances. That black vanilla in there is just exquisite, mixing together with those spices. But then we got to get something in here that's a little, again, blue fragrance-ish in the sense that it has great versatility, mass appeal, compliment factor, all that stuff. Heavy dose of Tonka in here, which people go crazy for. Really nice performance as well. Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This one was hyped to death at one point in time. Of course, it is a Chanel, which means that you can't find it discounted pretty much ever. And Notino knows that really well because Chanel sued their pants off. Chanel has tight distribution. And if anybody gets caught selling Chanel fragrances at a big discount, like at a fragrance discounter, they're in trouble, like legitimate trouble. But that one right there, if you're just looking for compliments, looking for attention, you're not gonna find much better, especially in spring, fall, or even winter. So there we go, guys. 3 ultimate fragrances, kind of, for 5 different styles, 5 different occasions. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.